Welcome to the reality revolution. There's one major idea I want you to take away from this episode, and that is there are no regrets. Every night, somewhere between sleep and awake, they come visiting. The ghosts of choices you didn't make, the echoes of words you can't take back, the shadows of who you could have been, if only. If only. If only. There are no regrets. I know how that sounds. I know your mind just pulled up its evidence file, that relationship you destroyed, that opportunity you let slip, that moment you zigged when you should have zagged. Your mind keeps perfect records of every mistake, doesn't it? Plays them on repeat, like some twisted greatest hits album. What if everything you call a regret is actually a lie you've been telling yourself about the past? What if every mistake was a perfect move in a game you couldn't see the board for? What if the very thing you've been using to torture yourself is actually the key to your freedom? See, regret is the ultimate thief. It doesn't just steal your peace, it steals your power. Every moment you spend wishing you'd done something different is a moment you're not here, not present, not creating. You're living in a timeline that doesn't exist. Fighting battles that are already over, trying to change a past that already changed you into exactly who you needed to become. There are no regrets. There are only experiences wearing masks. That person who broke your heart, they were teaching you how to find yourself. That job you lost, it was making space for something your small thinking couldn't imagine. That mistake that cost you everything was the price of admission to a life you couldn't have entered any other way. But here's what nobody tells you about regret. It's not about the past at all. It's about control. It's your ego's way of pretending that if you had just done things differently, you could have controlled the outcome. As if life is a test you failed instead of a masterpiece you're still painting. Today, we're going to do something radical. We're going to take every regret you've been carrying and transform it into rocket fuel. We're going to see your past through the eyes of the universe instead of the eyes of judgment. We're going to discover why there are no regrets. Only perfectly orchestrated events that deliver you to this exact moment. Because the truth that changes everything, you can't get your life wrong. You can't miss your destiny. You can't fail at being yourself. And every single thing you regret is just proof that you're powerful enough to create experiences that matter, brave enough to make choices that count, and human enough to feel it at all. So stop pretending your regrets are mistakes and start seeing them for what they really are, the sacred curriculum of your soul's education. They are catalyst. Let me show you why your regrets are built on a foundation of impossible knowledge. You think you know what would have happened if you made a different choice. You've convinced yourself you can see down the road you didn't take, but that's the most dangerous fiction your mind has ever written. Think about the thing you regret most. Got it? Now watch what your mind does. It shows you this perfect alternate timeline where everything worked out. Where you said yes instead of no. Where you stayed instead of left. Where you chose them instead of walking away. Your mind painted you a masterpiece of what could have been. But here's what your regret doesn't show you: the complete picture. It doesn't show you the car accident that would have happened on the way to the job that you didn't take. It doesn't show you the illness that person you didn't marry would have developed. It doesn't show you the depression that would have swallowed you and the life you think you wanted. There are no regrets because you literally cannot know what would have happened. Your mind is playing a rigged game. It takes your current knowledge, your current growth, your current wisdom, all of which came from the choice you made, and pretends you would have had all of that in the alternate timeline. But the person who knows what you know now They only exist because of the path you actually took. I get a lot of people that come to me seeking to shift into new timelines, and a lot of what I'm hearing is based on regrets. I want you to move away from that because there's an amazing timeline that has nothing to do with your regrets. Every regret you have is based on incomplete information, every single one. You're comparing what actually happened with all its messiness and pain and realness to a fantasy that exists nowhere but in your imagination. You're comparing documentary footage to a movie trailer your mind created. Now, there's something that will crack this wide open. You know that relationship that ended badly? The one you regret? If it had worked out, you would have become someone else entirely, not better, not worse, different. And that different person would have made different choices that led to different consequences that you can't even imagine from where you sit now. There are no regrets because life is not a multiple choice test with one right answer. Life is jazz, life is improvisation. Every note you played led to the next note in perfect sequence. Change one note and the entire song becomes something else. Not better music, different music, and you can't play both songs at once. But here's the deeper truth: your regrets are arrogant. They assume you know better than the universe. They assume you can see all the threads, all the connections, all the ripple effects. They assume you understand the grand orchestration when you can barely see past next Tuesday. That mistake that haunts you, it prevented 3 disasters you'll never know about. That wrong turn you took, it lined you up for synchronicities that haven't happened yet. That person you lost, they were meant to be a chapter, not the whole book. And staying would have prevented you from becoming who you're still becoming. You want to know why there are no regrets? Because every path leads exactly where it needs to. There are no mistakes. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't drop stitches. It doesn't forget the plot. What looks like a detour to you is actually the scenic route to a destination you couldn't have imagined. Your mind wants to be the Monday morning quarterback of your own life. It wants to replay the game with perfect hindsight and call better plays. But life isn't football. Life is a mystery unfolding. And you can't critique a mystery before you know how it ends. That thing you regret, it's still working for you right now, this moment, the strength it gave you, the clarity it brought, the person it shaped you into. That's all active in your life today. You're using the gifts of that experience while cursing the experience itself. You're benefiting from the lesson while wishing you'd never enrolled in the class. There are no regrets because you can't subtract experience from your life without subtracting who you became because of them. You can't remove the pain without removing the growth. You can't erase the mistakes without erasing the wisdom. So your regrets, they're not insights, they're not wisdom. They're your ego pretending it could have directed the movie better than the universe, but you can't. None of us can, because we're inside the story, not above it. We're the paint, not the painter. From where we sit, we simply cannot know enough to have regrets. We can only know enough to trust. Now let me show you what regrets are really doing to your life. Not yesterday's life, today's life, tomorrow's life, the dreams that are dying in your chest while you're busy conducting autopsies on your past. Every moment you spend in regret is a moment stolen from creation. Right now in this instant, you could be building something, starting something, becoming something, but instead you're standing at the grave of what didn't happen, bringing flowers to decisions that are already decomposed. Regret is a time machine that only goes backward, and while you're riding it, visiting those moments you wish you could change, your present is slipping through your fingers like sand. Your future is being written by default because you're too busy trying to edit a story that's already been published. There are no regrets, but dwelling on what you think are regrets, that's the real tragedy. Watch what happens when regret takes hold. You want to start that business, but when you remember the last time you tried something but failed, you want to open your heart to love, but then you replay how it ended before. You want to take that leap, but your regrets whisper, remember what happened last time. Regret becomes your stop sign. It becomes the reason you don't try. It becomes the evidence for why you should stay small, stay safe, stay stuck. You're not living your life anymore. You're trying not to create more regrets. That's not living. That's just existing in a padded cell of your own making. But here's the cruelest irony. While you're dwelling on regrets from the past, you're creating the regrets of your future. Every dream you don't chase because you're afraid of failing again. Every opportunity you don't take because last time hurt too much. Every moment of joy you don't allow because you're still punishing yourself for yesterday. The person dwelling on regrets from 10 years ago is creating the regrets they'll be dwelling on 10 years from now. Your dreams don't care about your past. Your potential doesn't need your history to be perfect. The universe isn't checking your record before it offers you miracles. Only you are. Only you are disqualifying yourself based on things that are no longer happening. Regret is like driving while staring in the rearview mirror. You'll crash every time. Not because the road ahead is dangerous, but because you're not looking at it. You're navigating your future using a map of your past, wondering why you keep ending up in the same place. There are no regrets, but there is a choice. You can keep being the curator of a museum nobody wants to visit, organizing and reorganizing your collection of could-have-beens, or you can burn the museum down and use the light to see what's possible now. Every minute you spend wishing you'd done something different is a minute you're not doing something different. Every ounce of energy you pour into regretting yesterday is energy stolen from creating tomorrow. You are choosing your past over your future, choosing who you were over who you are becoming. And your dreams? They're suffocating. They're gasping for the oxygen you're burning on regret. They're withering from the lack of attention, the lack of belief, the lack of action, not because you can't achieve them, but because you won't stop looking backward long enough to see them. The universe is trying to hand you new opportunities, but your hands are full of old stories. Life is trying to show you new doors, but you're too busy staring at the ones that closed. Magic is happening right in front of you, but you're watching returns of your past on repeat. There are no regrets. There is only the hypnosis of believing there are. Wake up. Your past already had its moment. It already taught you what it came to teach. It already shaped you, changed you, prepared you. Now it is done. It is complete. It has no more power except what you keep giving it by dwelling there. Your dreams are calling. Your future is wide open. Your potential is infinite. But none of that matters if you're too busy being a historian of your own pain to become the architect of your own joy. But here's the question that changes everything. What would you create today if you weren't spending all your energy trying to recreate yesterday? Who could you become if you stopped needing your past to be different? What dreams could finally breathe if you stopped suffocating them with regret? Because there are no regrets. There is only life happening now and now and now. And you're either here for it, or you're somewhere that no longer exists, missing the miracle of what's actually possible. Let me paint you a picture of what happens the moment you release your regrets. Not minimize them, not pretend they didn't hurt, not spiritually bypass your pain, but actually release them like birds you've been keeping in cages, thinking they were pets when they were really prisoners. The first thing you notice is the weight. My God, the weight that lifts off your shoulders. You didn't realize how heavy the past was until you stopped carrying it. It's like you've been walking through life wearing a backpack full of stones, each one carved with "I should have," and "if only," and "why didn't I?" And suddenly you take it off, your spine straightens, your lungs expand. You remember what it feels like to breathe. There are no regrets. And when you finally know this, when you finally release them, you become supernatural. Watch what happens to your energy, all that life force you were spending on maintaining the museum of your mistakes. It comes flooding back. It's like you've been running a dozen programs in the background, slowing down your whole system, and suddenly you close them all. You become electric. You become present. You become alive in a way you haven't been since before you started collecting regrets. The colors get brighter. I'm not being poetic. This literally happens when you stop filtering the present through the gray lens of regret. The world becomes technicolor again. Food tastes different. Music hits different. The sun on your face feels like the first time because you're actually here to feel it instead of somewhere else, someone else, rehearsing dead conversations. But here's where it gets miraculous. The moment you release your regrets, you don't just free yourself, you free everyone else in your story. That person you've been blaming, they get to be human again instead of the villain in your victim story. That version of yourself you've been hating, they get to be understood instead of condemned. Everyone in your past gets released from the roles you've been forcing them to play. There are no regrets. There is only freedom so complete it makes you dizzy. And then the magic really starts. When you stop needing your past to be different, your future becomes unlimited. Every door that was closed by "I already tried that" swings open. Every dream that was imprisoned by "but look what happened last time" breaks free. You become virgin territory for miracles because you're not prejudging them based on yesterday's evidence. Your relationship transforms overnight. You stop punishing people for the crimes of those who came before. You stop protecting yourself from pain that already happened. You show up clean, available, present. People feel it. They lean in instead of pulling back because you're not dragging ghosts to every conversation. The voice in your head changes. That critic who's been reading you the list of your failures every morning, it runs out of material. It tries to remind you of what you did wrong, but you're not interested. You're too busy creating what's right. You're too fascinated by what's possible to be hypnotized by what wasn't. There are no regrets. And when you embody this, you become unstoppable. Because here's what nobody tells you about releasing regrets. It doesn't just change how you see your past. It changes how you create your future. When you know, truly know, that there are no regrets, you become fearless. Not reckless, fearless. You take the leap because you know that even if you fail, it's just more curriculum. You say the thing, start the thing, end the thing, change the thing because you know that there's no such thing as getting it wrong. The relief is physical. Your body's been holding these regrets in your tissues, your cells, your nervous system. When you let them go, you might cry, you might laugh, you might feel electricity running through places that have been numb for years. You're not just releasing thoughts, you're releasing trapped energy that has been waiting to become something beautiful. And the most beautiful part is when you release your regrets, when you truly understand there are no regrets, you don't just heal your past, you heal your entire lineage. The pattern stops with you. The children watching you learn that mistakes are just redirects. The people around you remember that falling is just part of dancing. You become living proof that the past has no power except what we give it. There are no regrets. Say it until you feel your chains breaking. Say it until you feel your wings remembering. Say it until you understand that every single thing that happened was preparing you for the glory that's about to unfold. Because on the other side of regret isn't just peace, it's power. The power to create without fear. The power to love without reservation. The power to become everything you came here to be, unconstrained by a past that was always perfect in its imperfection. This is what awaits you. This is what's possible. This is what happens when you finally understand there are no regrets. There is only the heartbreaking beauty of a life fully lived. Let me tell you about Tommy Caldwell. Lost his index finger in a table saw accident. For a rock climber, that's game over. Career done. He spent months drowning in regret. Why didn't he pay attention? Why didn't he wait? Why didn't he use the guard? His climbing friends held a memorial service for his career. But then something shifted. Tommy decided his regret was a luxury he couldn't afford. He started climbing harder than before he lost the finger, developed new techniques, trained differently. 7 years later, he free climbed the Dawn Wall of El Capitan, something nobody thought was possible with 10 fingers, let alone 9. And the twist, Tommy now says losing that finger was the best thing that happened to his climbing. It forced him to become more creative, more precise, more present. The thing he regretted most became the greatest teacher. He didn't succeed despite his loss. He succeeded because of it. There are no regrets, only stories we haven't finished telling. Then there's Martha Beck, Harvard PhD, prestigious career, perfect life on paper, got pregnant and found out her son would have Down syndrome. Everyone said terminate. She didn't. Lost her career over it. Academic community turned their backs. Years of education wasted. The regret nearly killed her. All those degrees, all that potential gone. But Martha did something radical. She released the regret and asked, what if this is exactly right? Started writing about her experience. Became a life coach before life coaching was a thing. Today, she's helped millions of people find their purpose. Her son, Adam, became her greatest teacher about joy. Here's what Martha says. I spent years regretting my lost Harvard career. Then I realized I didn't lose it. I traded it for something I couldn't have imagined wanting. She didn't get her life back on track. She discovered she was never off track. One another, James Rhee, Korean immigrant, worked 20 years to become CEO of a private equity firm. Finally gets there 6 months later, fired in a hostile takeover. Lost everything. Reputation destroyed. Contemplated ending it all. The regret was eating him alive. Why did he trust them? Why didn't he see it coming? Why did he sacrifice everything for people who discarded him like trash? But then his daughter asked him to help save her teacher's job. The school's main supplier, a small catalog company, was going bankrupt. James knew nothing about retail, but he released his regret and followed his curiosity. Bought the company for almost nothing. That company, Ashley Stewart, he transformed it into a movement celebrating plus-size women of color, saved thousands of jobs, became a business school case study at his old Harvard. The private equity firm that fired him, bankrupt. James says, my biggest regret became my biggest redirect. There are no regrets, only plot twists we're too close to see. Here's my favorite. Patricia Raybon, denied tenure after 15 years teaching journalism. Devastating. Everything she'd worked for, gone. Spent months regretting every political battle she didn't fight, every compromise she didn't make. At 50 years old, career over, starting from zero. But Patricia did what warriors do. She transformed regret into fuel, started writing books instead of teaching about writing. Her first book won national awards. But here's the magic. She started writing mystery novels with a black female detective in 1920s Denver. Publishers said no one would read them, too specific, too niche. Those two specific novels, they've sold millions. Netflix optioned them. At 68, she's living her teenage dream of being a novelist, a dream she'd forgotten while climbing the academic ladder. She says, I regretted losing my professorship until I realized it was keeping me from my real calling. My firing wasn't a failure, it was a jailbreak. And there's one more. Dr. Ming Wang fled communist China, became a world-renowned eye surgeon, performed surgery on a patient who went blind. Lawsuit. Lost everything. Medical license threatened. The regret was unbearable. One mistake destroyed decades of perfect surgeries. But Ming released the regret and asked a different question. What wants to emerge from this? Started researching why the surgery failed. Discovered a new technique that could prevent similar failures, published the findings. Other doctors worldwide started using his method, saved thousands from blindness. The patient who sued him asked him to perform her other eye surgery using his new technique. And today, Dr. Wang's mistake is taught in medical schools as a breakthrough that revolutionized corneal surgery. He says, "My greatest regret became my greatest contribution, but I had to let go of the regret to receive the gift." There are no regrets, only chrysalis moments disguised as catastrophes. Every one of these people could have stayed stuck in their story of loss. Everyone had legitimate reasons to drown in regret. But they discovered the secret. When you release regret, you don't just heal, you transform. You don't just recover, you revolutionize. Your regrets aren't your prison, they're your rocket fuel. But only if you stop looking at them through the lens of loss and start seeing them through the lens of becoming. Now we do the work, now we cut the chains. Close your eyes if you can. And of course, if you're driving, just keep them open, but let these words sink deep. Because what we're about to do is going to change the chemistry of your cells. Bring up the regret. Bring the big one up. The one that visits you at 3 a.m. The one that makes your stomach tighten when you think about it. Don't push it away. For once, invite it in. Let it sit with you. Feel where it lives in your body. Is it in your chest, your throat, your gut? Now I want you to see that moment, that choice, that thing you wish you could undo. See it clearly. But this time, see it differently. See yourself in that moment not as someone who failed, but as someone who was doing their best with what they knew. See yourself as brave enough to make a choice, even if it was the wrong one. There are no regrets, and right now, I'm going to prove it. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, I want you to say these words out loud if you can, in your mind if you must. I release you. I release this regret. I release the story that I should have known better. Feel what happens when you say that. Feel the resistance. That's not wisdom fighting back. That's an old program trying to stay alive. Say it again. I release you. You've taught me what you came to teach. Now you're free to go. Now here's where the magic happens. I want you to see that same situation, but this time see all the invisible threads extending from it. See the strength it gave you that you use every day. See the wisdom it planted that's still growing. See the person you become because of it and not in spite of it. Can you see it? Can you see how that mistake was actually a master teacher in disguise? Can you see how it prepared you for something you couldn't have handled without it? Now take another deep breath. This time as you exhale, say, thank you. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the redirection. Thank you for making me who I am. Feel that. Feel how your body responds when you thank your regrets instead of cursing them. Feel how something loosens, something softens, something opens. There are no regrets. Say it with me now. There are no regrets. There are only experiences that shaped me into who I'm becoming. Now I want you to imagine taking the regret, that heavy, painful thing that you've been carrying and holding it in your hands. Feel its weight. Feel its texture. This thing you've been dragging through every day of your life. Now just let it go. Open your hands. Watch it dissolve like smoke. Watch it transform from a burden into a blessing, from a weight into wings. It's not gone, it's transformed. It's no longer something that happened to you, it's something that happened for you. Breathe into the space where the regret used to live. Fill that space with light, fill it with possibility. Fill it with the knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, having experienced exactly what you need to experience. One more time, say it like you mean it. Say it like your life depends on it. Because it does. There are no regrets. I am whole. I am complete. I am free. Feel that freedom flooding your system. Feel your cells reorganizing around this new truth. Feel your future expanding because it's no longer constrained by your past. Feel your heart opening because it's no longer guarding against pain that already happened. Now, right now in this moment, you're different. You're lighter. You're freer. That regret you've been nurturing like a poisonous pet, It's just transformed into rocket fuel for your dreams. Open your eyes if they were closed. Look at your hands. These are the hands of someone who has no regrets. Look at your life. This is the life of someone who understands that every single thing that happened was perfect in its imperfection. There are no regrets. There is only the magnificent story of how you became who you are, and that story, it's perfect. Every chapter, every sentence, every comma. The release is complete. You are free. And from this moment forward, you walk through life knowing that you cannot get it wrong. You cannot miss your destiny. You cannot fail at being yourself. There are no regrets. There is only the next magnificent moment of your becoming. Come with me. Step into tomorrow. Step into next week, next month, next year. Step in as someone who has no regrets. Feel how different you move through the world. Feel how different the world moves through you. Look at yourself waking up tomorrow morning. No weight on your chest. No ghosts in the room. No rehearsal of old pain before your feet hit the floor. You wake up clean. You wake up free. You wake up curious about what wants to be created, not haunted by what was destroyed. See yourself making decisions. See how different it is when you're not trying to avoid creating more regrets. You don't hesitate. You don't second guess. You don't pull the committee of your fears. You just know. You just choose. You just move because you finally understand that there's no such thing as a wrong turn when every road leads to wisdom. There are no regrets, and living from this truth changes everything. Feel yourself in relationships. You're not making other people pay for past betrayals. You're not protecting yourself from pain that already happened. You're present. You're available. You're whole. People feel it. They're drawn to you differently. They trust you because you trust yourself. They open because you're open. Love flows because you're not damming it up with debris from yesterday's storms. See yourself going after that dream. The one you've been postponing because last time didn't work out. But now there's no last time. There's only this time. There's only possibility. Watch how boldly you move when you're not dragging the weight of previous attempts. Watch how creatively you solve problems when you're not limited by how it went before. This is your life without regrets. This is what becomes possible. Feel the energy you have, all that life force you are spending on maintaining the museum of your mistakes. It's yours now. It's creative power. It's joy fuel. It's the electricity that lights up rooms when you walk in. You're not tired anymore. You're not heavy anymore. Your kinetic potential unleashed. Look at your face in the mirror a year from now. Those lines of regret around your eyes, gone. That tightness in your jaw from grinding through guilt, released. You look younger, but it's not about age. It's about finally letting your face show who you really are instead of wearing the mask of who you think you should have been. There are no regrets. This is the way. This is the only way. Watch what happens to your dreams when you live like this. They don't just grow, they explode because dreams need space to breathe, and regret takes up all the oxygen. When you stop tending the garden of your regrets, you have energy to plant what you actually want to grow, and it grows fast, faster than you imagined because you're not planting in soil poisoned by the past. Feel yourself taking risks, beautiful, bold, brilliant risks, not reckless, just free. You start the business, you write the book, you make the call, you end what needs ending. You begin what's calling. And here's the miracle, even when things don't go as planned, you don't create new regrets, you create new data, you create new stories, you create new wisdom. This is what's waiting for you, this is what's possible. This is who you become when you finally understand there are no regrets. See yourself 5 years from now, you're living a life that would be unrecognizable to the you who was drowning in regret. Not because your past changed, it didn't, but because your relationship to it transformed. You wear your scars like jewelry. You tell your stories like poetry. You use your pain as paint to create beauty that helps others release their own chains. People ask you, what happened? How did you become so free? How did you build this life? How did you transform so completely? And you smile because you know the secret. You didn't do anything, you just stopped regretting, stopped rehearsing, stopped living in timelines that don't exist. There are no regrets. When you live from this truth, miracles aren't miracles anymore. They're just Monday. This future is not a fantasy, it's a frequency, and you can step into it right now. Not when you've processed all your regrets, not when you figured it all out, not when you finally feel ready, now. Because the bridge between the you who has regrets and the you who is free isn't built from time, it's built from choice. Choose now. Choose freedom. Choose to walk into tomorrow, knowing that your past was perfect because it delivered you here. Choose to create from joy instead of fear. Choose to dance instead of defend. Choose to live like someone who understands the deepest truths of existence. There are no regrets. There's only life, magnificent and messy and magical, waiting for you to show up without apology, without explanation, without the chains you forged from experiences that were always trying to set you free. This is the way. This is the only way, and now it's your way. This is it. The moment where everything changes, not tomorrow. Not when you're ready, right now in the space between breath and the next. You get to choose who you're going to be for the rest of your life. There are no regrets. Do you hear me? There are no regrets. Every tear you've cried over what should have been, those tears were watering seeds you couldn't see. Every night you've lost to replaying what went wrong, those nights were labor pains for who you're becoming. Every single moment of agony over the past was your soul trying to break free from a prison that was never locked. The door was always open. You were just looking at the walls, but now you see it. Now you know the relationship that shattered you, it wasn't a mistake, it was surgery. Removing what needed to go so something truer could grow. That opportunity you missed, it wasn't meant for you. It was blocking the miracle that's on its way. That person you lost, they didn't leave too soon. They left at exactly the right time for both of you to become who you were meant to be. There are no regrets. There is only a love so vast it includes every broken thing. Listen to me. Really listen. You've been carrying corpses on your back, thinking they were companions. You have been rehearsing a play that closed years ago. You've been living in a haunted house when the whole universe is your home. No more. No more. Today, right now, in this holy moment, you lay it down, all of it. Every I should have, every if only, every why didn't I. You lay them at the altar of what is, and you walk away free. Not because your past was perfect, but because your future is calling too loudly for you to stay here anymore. Can you hear it? Can you hear your life calling you forward? Can you hear your dreams begging you to stop looking back? Can you hear the universe itself conspiring to show you that everything happened exactly as it needed to? There are no regrets. Say it with me. Scream it. Whisper it. Let it break you open. There are no regrets. Write it in the comments. You are not your mistakes. You are what rose from them. You are not your failures. You are what they taught you. You are not your past. You are the phoenix that used it as kindling. And now you rise. Not despite what happened, because of it. Every single thing that broke you was breaking you open. Every single loss was making space. Every single ending was a beginning in disguise. This is your moment of recognition. This is your resurrection. This is the second when you stop being who you were and start being who you've always been underneath the stories. There are no regrets. There is only the staggering beauty of a life that includes it all. The tears, the laughter, the falling, the rising, the losing, the finding, the breaking, the healing. It's all sacred. It's all perfect. It's all you. So stand up different, breathe different, be different, because you are not the same person who started listening to this. That person believed in regrets. That person is gone. What stands in their place is a force of nature, unchained, unapologetic, unstoppable, and free. The revolution is not coming. The revolution is here. It happened the moment you understood that there are no regrets. There is no shame. There is no should have been. There is only what is, and what is perfect. Welcome to your life, your real life. The one where every single thing that happened was preparing you for the glory that starts now. You are free. You've always been free. You just forgot. But now you remember. Now you know. Now you rise. There are no regrets, and that changes everything. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution. Hello, it's Brian Scott. And I'm beyond excited to finally announce a live, in-person, 3-day event that I'm hosting in Los Angeles on November 21st through the 23rd. And when you walk away from this event, your life will be changed forever. Whatever it is that you're looking for right now, if you need to heal from something, to find the love of your life, to find wealth, to find your purpose, to ascend, to evolve, whatever that is, whatever your desire, this event is designed to bring that to you. There is a timeline available for you where you can live the very best life that you could ever imagine, where everything is always working out for you. And this event is designed to shift you into that reality and make it something tangible and real that you experience. I promise you that this will change your life.